everyone here has heard of Allianz. Headquartered in Germany, Allianz is a global leader in insurance and asset management, operating in more than 70 countries. Automation Hero is so fortunate, and we're so grateful to work with the team from Allianz Italy. You may know, you may not know, that Italy is actually Allianz's second largest insurance market after Germany, with more than 8 million customers, 25,000 agents, and more than 4,000 employees. So I'm so excited to have from Allianz Italy, Pietro Biassoni. He was the data officer and head of operations and advanced analytics, and David Salvetti, the head of analytics business support. From the Automation Hero side, we have Martin Andino, who's the sales director for Southern Europe, including Italy. My name is Nicholas Peddle. I am on the marketing team at Automation Hero. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Pietro. Thank you, David. And looking forward to the discussion. Take it away, Martin.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nick. Welcome, everybody. And first and foremost, thank you once again, Pietro and David. It's great to connect over a webinar with you. We speak almost every day, but now in a webinar, it's a new setup, I guess, for our engagements. Yes, I will go right into it. I think more than anything, we're going to be starting at a high level kind of conversation of how you went into the world of Automation Hero, and maybe get into a bit more detailed conversation, but ultimately beginning with you, Pietro, at a high level question of what made you look at, intelligent document processing and then ultimately Automation Hero.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Martin. Our pleasure to be here, of course. The question is why intelligent document processing? I would say that the easy answer is that as an insurer, we process a lot of documents. Most of them come from our customer directly or through the intermediaries that work with us. I would say that having a better way to process this documentation is a good lever for us in order to deliver on our promise, that's to put the customer at the center. So improving document management for us, meaning serving the customer faster and serving him better. Second, why Automation Hero? We strongly thought about what was the right direction when we started this hyper automation journey. I would say that when going into this path, we decided that there are several capabilities that the platform need to have to support this. First of all, they need to be able to intelligently process documents, of course. Second, there's a lot of workflow in our processes, so should be able to manage workflow, should be able to connect with many systems made of more disparate types that we have, and finally, should be easy to use by our team. We found that Automation Hero is really balanced on this dimension, so was provided all the capabilities that we had in a unique spot.
Okay, thank you for that. And one thing that you mentioned is there is so many different processes and documentations that you have to go through as an insurance company. So how do you end up deciding, okay, this is the first process that we're going to do a pilot with Automation Hero with?
I would say that there was a twofold decision, one more business and organization driven. We decided a process that was managed by an area that we work a lot with before, because of course as we are going to discuss also the title of the webinar, human are key in automation. This seems quite a contradiction, but actually it's not. And so first choose the process where we added the possibility to experiment with our business partner, internal business partner. Second, a process that allowed for incremental implementation. So start simple with a very simple and then explore expanding over and over the possibility to improve it from a very small rate of automation to a very large as of today. And this was also for us a proof of our concept of having a scalable approach to automation and AI.
Okay, so I mean, you mentioned that a team kind of, you had the opportunity to keep them in the center, of course. So when you were deciding on choosing Automation Hero instead of just any other intelligent document processing, technology out there, how was that process of deciding which teams were involved, the responsibilities for implementing it, for example? How much as well, was the IT team involved during the decision process? There's many questions there, but
yeah, I would say that of course, as every vendor selection process went through our standard processes for picking up a vendor, and that implies the participation of our IT department, our corporate enterprise architecture department, internet security officer, and so on and so forth. And then the road decouples from what then stays on the IT side and what stays on the business side, or say data office side. That's more for us. Data office is part of the business, is not part of the IT. I think this is a useful information for our guest today. But on this latter point, I would say that David can comment better than myself.
Yes, what can I add, for instance, related to the contribution related to the IT? I can say that they have been involved in building new services in order to enable the integration between Automation Hero platform and our internal business applications, for instance, and to enable the connection and inclusion of automation within our company process, internal company process. And what can I say is that one of the features that we appreciate most about Automation Hero is that it decouples the let me say the implementation component, which is performed directly on the platform, and the backend service which are exposed by the API. And with this configuration, if we have to migrate from a service to a new one, we would not have to change anything related to the flows that we have implemented in the platform. The only thing that we have to change in this case is only the connection to the services, and this clearly is very important in terms of time and cost saving for us.
And indeed, then that is the main thing that the IT team was helping with, right? Making sure that integration was available and possible to take place. So the creation of the flows is the thing that you're doing them by yourself, in a sense, right, David?
Yeah.
So thinking of that, creation of the first use cases, and then, okay, we chose this pilot. We have the integration that is necessary. The process to implement that first use case, obviously you didn't wake up and said, okay, I just do this, boom, boom, and I got the use case in production. But there was a process for you to learn, and perhaps there are some learnings that you went through, or what worked best when implementing this first use case?
Yes, I can describe you our first use cases, and related to it, we decided to automate the handling of customer requests sent by email, certified email, and letters, and which are transformed in tickets through our internal ticketing service system. And in particular, we wanted to focus on a specific topic related to the request about specific changes related to policy conditions. And in this use case, we started integrating the Automation Hero platform to our internal ticketing service system, because we knew that this was the most time-consuming step related to the entire project. And once integrated, we had the opportunity for the first time to have a complete overview of the process. And we decided at the beginning to enter the process without doing anything. Let me say, the only thing that we do at the beginning was to integrate to the to the system, and we were able to extract ticket, read the content, and put the ticket back to the ticketing service system. This step was crucial because we were able to prove that the integration worked well and as expected without independently of any business rules. And after this step, we step by step included any automation till the end of the project. And now I can say that the project we achieved the results, and we achieve customer satisfaction that is really important. And I would like to add that during the journey, we immediately understood the importance of having, as Pietro said before, having a business expert involved in the process from the beginning, in the human in the loop process, and in helping us to handle the exceptions, for instance. In this way, our business colleagues better understood the potential of the platform and the potential of automation of the human in the loop process. Indeed, they better understood and they recalibrated the expectation respect to the automation, and they evaluate a lot the result that we can achieve even if we use a human in the loop, that it's not a complete automation, but can give an important result in terms of time saving.
Thank you. So if we take it, if you put it again into the steps that you took, in a sense, implementing that, first, prove that the integration works. Exactly. And then expand into, okay, little by little, we can cover all of these business process, which in some cases, there will be some exceptions, and that's when the human obviously stays in the loop. And that's where where your business users found the value. Okay, obviously there is some automations that there is no need for us to take a look at, but there is otherwise which this tool makes it much easier to take a look at and validate and handle exceptions and so on. Ultimately, yeah, what we call the human in the loop concept. And these business users, I mean, for this process, the documentation that they were working with, was it like internal documentation? You mentioned it was sent by in your internal ticketing system, but was that, was it coming in any specific format? Are you looking to extract data from documentation, from text? How complex, in a sense, was that process to begin with?
Okay, every day in Allianz we receive a large number of documents related to a different type of request. For instance, a policyholder may request the status of the claim, or an agent may, on behalf of the policyholder, may request certain changes in the policy conditions, and so on. So a large number of documents. What we have seen and what we have verified is that sometimes these documents are, let me say, PDF already digitalized. And in this situation, the extraction of any information is quite easy. But in other times, these documents are not digitalized, but they are made of a scan or multiple scan, in the worst case, a multiple scan, making the document very noisy and making very difficult to extract any kind of information. Regarding to the data, we extract a large number of data, and in particular, we extract data from text, from images, and from tables. For instance, we extract general information related to the policyholder that sent an email, or we can extract the name, last name, expiry date from ID cards, both electronic and paper, or we can extract account information sent by broker in form of tables, and so on. And coming back to the documents, we have seen that if the documents are digitalized, then we can extract information using directly metadata. Otherwise, if these documents are not digitalized, we have to use advanced artificial intelligence model in order to clean up the documents and then to extract the information. In this specific situation, it's important to note that the presence of a human in the loop is fundamental, paramount important, because if the human is in the loop, he can validate or modify the information that we have extracted, and then he can trigger the next step of the process.
Effectively, like we're saying, keeping the human in the loop. If they are able of obviously instead of spending time searching for all the data everywhere, the only thing that they need to do is actually, this is the decision that I'm making because I'm a knowledge-based worker, and this is what I'm enjoying doing ultimately, right? So thinking of then the big picture, and going back to you, Pietro, you know, we're talking about different use cases, a lot of unstructured data, documentation. How are you seeing the impact on efficiency? You know, efficiency ultimately is reaching the same result with less efforts and effectiveness. So how is this delivering a better result for your customers, the different use cases that we have in place?
Yeah, I would say that I need to do a premise, because when we talk about automation and efficiency, the easy and the wrong thing to think of is, okay, so we get rid of the human, and what David exactly said, it's exactly the opposite. The goal is not to get rid of the human. It would be a poor strategy, and also in terms of efficiency, a less effective strategy. So seems this is counterintuitive, but putting the human in the loop makes you more efficient than achieving 100% machine-based automation, because machines are poor in handling exceptions. Machines are poor in taking complex decisions and evaluation. Here is where the human still rules, and my bet is will rule for a long time to come. And so putting the human in the loop is absolutely key. So what means efficiency? Efficiency means that for us, we automatize the clerical work, checking that this policy is existing, as exactly this expiry date, as exactly this information is something where it's not value added. We want to focus the activities on value added activities, where we can really use this to delight the customer with our service, because customer want to have fast service for sure. And so the more time you get rid of clerical activities, the more you can invest the same amount of time into providing a better service within the same time frame. Second point that I think it's really relevant, having the human in the loop is also a strategic choice for other things. There are some processes that you do not want to automatize because you want a human to control some risk factors, because automatizing it requires is simply not possible under Article 22 of the GDPR in some cases, or won't be possible in some cases under the upcoming AI Act in the EU. So having the human in the loop is not, let me say, something that come on, I cannot get it. Is a strategic choice that brings value to the customer and and brings also more efficiency to the company.
And ultimately, I mean, thinking of those use cases where the human is at the epicenter for a need, like for example, regulatory or things like this, it doesn't mean, okay, because the human has to make a decision, we're not even going to touch it. No, it just means let's remove the critical activities so then they can focus on the value-added activities. Yeah, that's very much what many other companies as well are trying to understand at this point, and probably you're at the forefront of that. So now getting a tiny bit personal in a sense into some of our meetings. I've heard you mention, okay, within Allianz, what we want to do with Automation Hero is industrialize automation. And I love that phrase. So I would like to know, could you tell us more a little bit of what that concept means for you and how we are helping you achieve that? Because it's something that I think it's extremely valuable as well. And it doesn't have to be exclusive, right? For everybody that's attending, industrialization of the automation, what do you think that is?
Yeah, this is something that I started following as a goal a couple of years ago, and now we are succeeding, I guess. The point is the following: as always, when you try to solve a new problem, you apply good old Pareto rule. 80% of the benefit comes with 20% of the effort. So you find the 3 big projects that delivers a lot of value, because at the end of the day, we want to deliver value to our customer and to our company. Then what? And of course, these big projects are big, have a big value delivery. Implementation costs are repaid by the big value delivery for the customer, for the company. The problem is then to harvest the 20% remaining value, you need to do 80% of the work. And everyone understands that going after use case after use case after use case, the value decreases. That's by definition, because you first target high value things, and so the cost should decrease. Otherwise, you arrive at a certain point where you can do nothing because you do not pay. Industrializing automation means finding a platform and a framework that allows you, every time that passes, each other use case, to decrease the marginal cost of implementation. This is the key to scale automation, at least in large organizations like we are.
So if we put it, in other words, the way in which you are seeing Automation Hero is to get to that not extra actually, but to finalize your objective. Okay, we find the 3 big whale projects, and this is gonna get me to 70 to 80% of my objectives. How do I get that extra 30, that gap, which, like you said, the cost it increases in a sense, the more you automate, but instead through Automation Hero, using different use cases, like we just said, so many different documentations and so on, a platform view that can allow you to, like you're saying, industrialize that process. Exactly. I just really like that phrase, because it's kind of a lot of the concepts that the automation has in the market of, that the industrial revolution is kind of bringing those two together, right? And in that case, then thinking of your next steps, and okay, we have identified the main use cases. We have some that were already with Automation Hero. How are you identifying the additional ones to automate? What about, for example, having a platform like ours in place makes easier that process of identification of, okay, we can also automate this?
In order to identify additional processes to automate, we developed, let me say, a structured approach where periodically we extract use cases from the innovation backlog. That is a list that we maintain updated, and that it contains the list of companies' processes that we have mapped and identified with the support of our business colleagues. And in order to prioritize these use cases, we use primarily 2 main key factors. The first one is the business value related to the use case in terms of cost saving and business and customer satisfaction. The other one is the other factor is the complexity of the solution that we have to build and put into production. but we consider other factor in order to prioritize these use cases. And here, Automation Hero platform plays an important role because typically we would like to prioritize use cases that for which we can reuse the integration and the IT enablers that we have built for other use cases that we have in production now. This approach, using this approach, we can take advantage of the low-code, no-code environment that we have inside Automation Hero platform. And in this way, we can develop and test a simple solution in a fast way, and we can put in production an MVP, a minimum volume product, in few days. And this is great, let me say. And regarding the use cases that we have in plan for this year, we have identified so far more than 30 use cases that we would like to put in production by the end of 2023. And we have identified them using the approach that I've just described you.
Thank you, David. So absolutely, then when we go to a market, we talk about three main things, and I feel like you just touch upon all of them, right? We have an AI native approach, allowing us to do many different use cases. We have the end-to-end capabilities. So the fact that an integration exists allows you to industrialize that process, right? Repeat it again and use that same connector again, in a sense. And finally, the low-code, no-code, allowing you to quickly put things into MVP state and then production, which again is the human as well, you know, your business users also part of that process to a certain extent of the low-code, no-code.
I would say that for this is choice. The idea is that at least in the stage we are. We think that having a team, David's one, that is mastering this low-code and no-code environment for the time being is the best way to assist our business. I guess that's a journey. You know, when computers were developed, computers were something for a highly technical, specialized profession, and then no one of us can think of making his own work without a computer. It's a journey. I guess that at a certain point in time, this will come, that business becomes completely independent in doing this, with a big caution, with point of cautiousness that you should do this in a governed manner.
And that touches on the last question that I had for you guys today, which was, you know, you just touched on governance. So what advice would you give other insurance companies? Obviously, Allianz is like Lenny was saying, a huge insurance company, ultimately also an enterprise organization. So do you have, what's the main advice when any other kind of company or an insurer is considering to automate that process?
I have two main advice. The first one is to keep business expert involved in the process. And the second one is to keep the IT team well engaged as well. Because they can give you a real value from different point of view. Related, for instance, related to the human in the loop and being the business expert in the process in Allianz, helping us in order to we are able to reduce the needed time to select the processes by even 80%, leveraging synergies between human and artificial intelligence. Otherwise, related to the engagement of the IT team, this is very important. especially at the beginning of the process, when you have to build the integration between Automation Hero platform and your internal business applications. Because in this way, as I told you before, you can, this gives you the opportunity to develop, test, and put in production your automated solution in a fast way by building scalable and reusable solution for many use cases.
Yeah, I will add a provocative sentence. That's change your mind on automation. Automation is not diminishing the time, diminishing the resources, is a switch the changes. Put the human at the center. Put the human, that's first of all your customer at the center, because customer is the most thing that everyone that's in the business has. We, Automation Hero, everyone attending this webinar as a customer, and the customer is the most important thing that we as enterprises have. And second, put the human, so all the people that works in the organization at the center. This is really empowering. The name of the game of automation in this new AI empowered world is that the AI empowers the humans in the organization to better serve the customer.
Thank you very much, Pietro. Thank you very much, David. I think we have some questions, Nick. I'll pass it on to you, but it's great to connect.
Yes, thank you both, and thank you, Martin. Great conversation, unpacked a lot in a little amount of time, so really enjoyable. So the first question here is, and I'll throw these out, and Pietro and David, you can decide who answers. So to what extent have you looked at fixing the underlying problem, the fact of using documents or scanned documents at all?
A lot. You don't want to simplify, to automatize over complex thing. Our strategy is simplicity wins. This is not my motto, is the motto of our global CEO, publicly said in all our strategy presentations since years, because simplicity wins. You should simplify and automatize and redesign the process to fit automation, not vice versa. And this comes with a good consequence that when someone asks you to automatize something that's complex, you should plainly say no. It's sometimes a tough answer, but no. Do your homework. Let's do the homework together. Let's simplify what's simplificable, and then we will automatize. Otherwise, it's a big mess.
Thank you. Next question: how did you manage to get buy-in from your team initially? I think is what they're saying. So was change management a challenge when you first brought Automation Hero in, or IDP into your team, this automation?
No, on my team, I will let David comment, but the point is, how do you onboard? But this is a general question. How do you onboard the business teams, the process owners, the business owners on innovation initiatives? I would say that the key is always they say, partner with them, understand what are the problems. We as a chief data officer should, data officer or whatever is the title, is we should bring value to our internal and external customers. So look at what we can do for them, not what are our goals, but how can we help them, and do it in a start small, scale up. Seems quite a marketing buzzword, but it's true. It works. Start small and scale up approach. While on the adoption of Automation Hero internally, let me say on the developer, on the technical side, I will leave to David.
Yes, Now, at the beginning, we started using Automation Hero for a simple, as I told you during this webinar, in a very simple way. For instance, as I told you, when we started with the first use case, the only thing that we did was to integrate with our internal systems and doing nothing. This help us to better understand the process and better understand how we can build the flow, the solution in Automation on the Automation Hero platforms in order to introduce the automation. And as Pietro told before, the idea is to introduce any automation step by step, including at the beginning a simple solution that can automatize simple steps, and then step by step the idea is to cover the entire process if we can, and in a specific step involve the human, the business expert in order to help us to, for instance, build the better Automation Hero interface that they have to use in order to validate or modify the information that we have extracted and so on. But another important thing that I'd like to share is that we can reuse a lot. Using Automation Hero, we are able to move fast to the next use case because we understood a lot from the previous one. We have built a flow, and from that flow, we can reuse a lot of components. And so we can be faster and faster with the time. And this is a result that we have been seeing because now we are faster and faster.
Great, thank you. That's great information. And actually, this next question ties into that very nicely. So, when you're creating a new use case, or when you have a new use case, do you create a separate business case for each use case?
In general, the answer is yes, because we are really value driven. Business case may mean several things, because doing an implementation that allows you to reduce the SLAs to your customer maybe is a great use case, is a great business case. Then translate this into P&L dollars, maybe not so trivial. So you should not be, let me say, intransigent on the fact that everyone should be attached to a dollar value, but to a value for the customer or for for the company. Absolutely, yes. Sometimes also we should be honest. You should not consider the single minimum use case may be difficult to estimate, but you bunch some of them together, for example, for area of business or several use cases along the same process. But the answer is yes, pursue value always.
Yeah. And actually, this question is also, I think, somewhat related, at least. How do you start simple, but with a simple use case, and at the same time see enough return to cover the fixed costs, the initial fixed costs?
This is a real good question. The point is, let's define what's simple. So simple does not mean that that is a small one. I will. Simple in our idea is simple the way you approach. So you have a big objective to pursue. You want to send, just taking something that's really actual. We have tomorrow, yeah, I hope. So you want to send people back to the moon after several years. The goal is huge. But you don't start to say, okay, I need to have the perfect solution. The first shot, I send 10 people there and get them back. You start to say, okay, let's see if this cylinder-shaped thing can go into the sky and forget about how it comes down to the earth. And then this should come back in a proper way, so without exploding on impact, and so on and so forth. So taking this good analogy is small means that you do it step by step, but you know that after a certain amount of step, we reach some amount of value that will be fine with your intended ROI.
Great. I like that example. Good analogy. Thank
I hope
you.
it flies to tomorrow. I guess it's the second attempt.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're almost up on time here, but we'll go one more question here. How do you manage data protection and data security, and what was that process when you first got involved with automation?
We do duly act upon GDPR obligations, as we are EU based, and as the trust of our customer and protection of our customer is our first interest. Of course, we perform the assessments in terms of security to be sure, and so taking good ex ante due diligence on the privacy and protection. Consider that most of the use cases we are doing is technically speaking to execute the contract, and so this is a request people are sending us, and of course we apply all the security and minimization principle required under the regulation.
Right. I'm going to squeeze in one more question because it's a good one, and I just saw it. So, and then we'll close. We'll wrap up. How much time do you typically save by reusing use cases or reusing what you've built?
This clearly depends on the project and on the complexity of the project. But typically, what we see is that if we reuse reusing the integration is the best, because as I told you before, this step it means build the integration between Automation Hero platform and a specific business application require a lot of time, because there are a number of steps that we have to follow and so on. So if you can reuse this the same integration, this clearly save a lot of time, and you can start immediately working on that specific use case. We don't need to wait for anything. You are ready to build, to develop a solution, a simple solution, test it, and put it in production, a minimum volume.
I will add just a quick comment as if you save 1 minute in developing by reusing something you already developed, a single line of code is 1 minute that you devote to better understand your business need and to better serve your customer. So whatever is the saving is a good one.
Yes.
That, I think, is the perfect place to end. So thank you. So if anybody asked questions we didn't get to, we appreciate you asking. Follow up with us. You'll get an email from us, and you can reply to that with questions, and we'll do our best to get them answered for you. I just want to say thank you one more time to Pietro, David, Martin. I think, Martin, this may have been your webinar hosting debut, and you did such a great job. And of course, we appreciate everybody's time here. Thank you, everybody who joined and tuned in, and those of you who asked questions. We hope this is valuable. I said we'll be sending out the recording. And we welcome any follow-up questions. I think you know how to get in touch with us. And as I said, we appreciate you taking the time on a Wednesday here to spend with us. And We have more information about future webinars, future news and events coming from Automation Hero on our website. So I encourage everyone to check those out. And with that, we'll wrap up today. We'll close it out. Thank you again to everybody. Martin, Pietro, David, the Allianz team, Allianz Italia. And we'll see everyone at the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It has
Bye
been a
bye.
Thank you,
pleasure.
everyone. Thank you.